One of the most feared snakes in Africa has venom so potent that it can kill 6 full-grown men with a single bite. It is, of course, the black mamba. For Melody Chipatura, this is exactly what she came face-to-face with while sitting at her desk in her classroom at the end of the school day. Hit like and subscribe. This is Fierce. FierceOutdoor.com is your place to be for the best outdoor gear. We're not just about adventures, we're about conquering them. From the deepest valleys to the highest peaks, our equipment is designed for those who dare to challenge the wild. Join the ranks of fearless explorers with gear from Fierce Outdoor. Link in description. When you kiss your children goodbye as they leave for school each morning, you don't for 1 minute expect it to be the last time. But that is exactly what happened to 17-year-old Melody Chipatura's parents in Zimbabwe on January 12, 2023. Melody was a Form 6 pupil at Rushinga High School in Mashonaland, situated in northern Zimbabwe. The region largely consists of rolling hills, river valleys, and is bordered by the Zambezi River. She was a dedicated individual who took her education seriously. Whenever there were events at the school, she would help out with the cooking and catering. She was expected to do very well in her advanced level exams, but that Thursday afternoon in January was to be her last. Not long back from the festivities of the holiday season, the students were getting back into the swing of things as the school day wore on. As was usual on Thursday afternoon, Melody and her classmates were outside playing sports. Their shouts and laughter traveled across the school playing fields. But something was drawn to the school grounds that afternoon. Perhaps vibrations through the ground of children playing. Perhaps a particular smell, promising prey nearby. It was a silent killer. One of the most feared snakes in Africa, the black mamba. So called for the black inside of its mouth, these snakes contain enough venom to kill 6 fully grown men with a single bite. They can grow up to 9 feet long. Although they are shy of humans and try to avoid conflict, they are also known to be naturally aggressive snakes, unafraid of striking if something or someone comes too close. They seem to have no fear. And although there is an antivenom available, it is a race against time to receive treatment, as some people are dead within 45 minutes of a black mamba bite, and all within 16 hours if left untreated. A black mamba hatches from its egg with around 2 to 3 drops of venom in each of its fangs. As an adult, that increases to as much as 12 to 20 drops. However, just 2 drops of venom is enough to kill a human. But the school wasn't in typical black mamba habitat. They prefer long grass or sugarcane fields where they can hunt for small rodents and birds in the undergrowth. The school's grass was cut short. There was no overgrown brush near the school. Even so, a deadly black mamba made its way onto the school field. The loud shouting and noise coming from the sports ground must have frightened the snake inside. Silently, it slid up the concrete steps and in through the school doors. The school was quiet and calm. The snake worked its way down the corridors and into an empty classroom. The people of Zimbabwe are no strangers to the dangers of black mambas. Only 5 months before, 3 members of the same family were struck down by a black mamba in a mountainous region of the country. None of them survived. In Africa, most deaths caused by snake bites are attributed to the Cape Cobra and the black mamba. Most of the time, the bites occur in the rural regions where healthcare is limited and transport can be slow. Antivenom is essential to treat the victim and is the difference between life and death. It was nearing the end of the day. Melody and the other students had finished their sports and made their way inside to their classrooms to be dismissed for the day. It was just before 4 p.m., just before home time, when Melody would walk back to her house and greet her parents like she did every day. But today was not like any other day. She didn't notice a dark gray reptile on the floor near her chair. It was lying still until its head began to rise up from the rest of its body. It could see the students piling into the classroom, and its instincts began to kick in. Its defensive and aggressive killer instincts. Melody dutifully sat down, waiting for the teacher to come in and dismiss the class. As she sat down, she felt a sharp, needle-like pain on her thigh. She looked down, and to her horror, she stared right into the face of a black mamba, its black eyes looking up at her as its head was raised 2 feet off the floor. Its mouth was agape, showing its deathly black mouth. Its tongue flicked in and out, and it hissed menacingly. Melody screamed, crying out that she had been bitten by a snake. Her fellow pupils turned to see the black mamba raised to strike again. They leapt out of the windows, screaming as they did so. Staff rushed to the scene and inspected Melody. Within 5 minutes, Melody was already on the way to Rushinga Medical Clinic. The snake was definitely a black mamba. Nobody could mistake it for anything else. Everyone knew it, and everyone knew that time was of the essence. If Melody had any chance of survival, she needed antivenom right away. The venom was now coursing through her body, working its way to the central nervous system. Her thundering heart, pounding in her chest from the panic and fear that gripped her, only accelerated the toxicity of the venom. There was nothing anybody could do to slow down the diffusion of the toxin. At first, Melody felt a tingling sensation in her thigh, where the snake had bitten her. It spread throughout her leg and into her other limbs. Very quickly, her breathing became labored, and her body began shutting down. The black mamba's venom works by affecting the transmission across the motor end plate of nerves. This stops messages from crossing from the nerves to the muscles, essentially causing paralysis. This means the muscles involved in breathing and in keeping the heart beating cease to function, and the victim dies from cardiac and/or respiratory failure. Cardiac and respiratory support can be applied to keep the victim alive while the muscles are otherwise paralyzed. Antivenom is administered intravenously, as uptake from a muscular injection is considered too slow. Melody's parents were called while she was en route to the medical clinic. She was rushed through the doors, and her parents arrived just 20 minutes after Melody had been bitten. They brought with them an herbal healer, someone they hoped could save their daughter's life. But herbs weren't going to fight off the toxicity of black mamba venom, one of the most potent toxins known to man. The local Chimhanda hospital was also called by the school, and the doctors told them to bring her there straight away, along with the snake if it had been killed successfully. Positive identification was paramount to administer the correct antidote, but Melody didn't have a chance at receiving any antivenom. She never made it to the hospital, and she died just 30 minutes after being struck in her classroom. It is still unclear exactly what the snake was doing in the school building, as the grounds were so far away from its typical habitat. There was a report that a villager had earlier spotted the snake in the local community and had attacked it. The snake then slithered off and found refuge in the relatively quiet school classroom. It was a very hot day, too, with some suggesting that the snake was seeking the coolness of the building as it sheltered from the heat outdoors. Everyone was in shock, for somebody who was so active and alert just minutes before, who was now lying deceased, was a terrible tragedy. Melody's father, Joseph Chipatura, who serves as a ZANU-PF counselor in Rushinga, said that she had high aspirations and hoped to be a psychologist one day, but it was not to be.